If you can understand this video, then your English listening skills are incredible. And that's because I'm going to be telling you a story, but I'm going to be speaking at a very natural, native pace. There aren't going to be any subtitles, and there is going to be a bit of background noise as well, as you can probably already tell. So the story I'm going to be telling you today is based on a very interesting concept called the butterfly effect. And I'll tell you what it is, and I'll tell you how it may have shown up in your life as well. And I'd like you to think about that throughout my story, because I can promise you in one way or another, this thing will have also impacted you. So the butterfly effect is extremely simple, and it's just this idea that a very small, seemingly insignificant thing that happened in the past can go on to have massive, unpredictable outcomes in the future. Okay, an easy way to remember this is just imagine a butterfly on the other side of the world flapping its wings, and that causes something else to happen, which causes something else to happen, causes something else to happen, and eventually that one butterfly causes a humongous event to happen on the other side of the world as well. So here's my example, right? This happened about 10 years ago. After school, so I'm 28 now, this was when I was 17, so 11 years ago. After school, one day, I was going back home with my friend, he was giving me a lift, and I randomly had a seizure in his car. And a seizure is basically when you collapse and you pass out and you're like shaking on the floor. It's not very pleasant. I wouldn't really wish it on my worst enemy, but it's surprisingly common. You don't have to be epileptic to have a seizure. Normally, if you have seizures, you're epileptic. You've probably heard of that, epilepsy. But it's not uncommon for people to have seizures without being epileptic. And thankfully, that was the case with me as well. Anyway, I had a random seizure and they took me to hospital. They did some tests. They found out that it was a one-off event, but they put me on some medication anyway, just as a precaution to ensure that I didn't have any more in the future. So I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was like, okay, that's a bit annoying, it's a bit weird, but it seems like it's not going to be something that influences my life going forward. And I was right for quite a long time until it did influence my life. So we'll fast forward 7 years when I was 24, okay? So I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life at that point. And I was running this one business, reselling custom Levi's jeans. But I also had recently gone on holiday to Korea and I absolutely loved it, right? So after that holiday, I was like, you know what? I think I would quite like to move here. Sorry, I did promise some background noise, but this is a bit excessive. I apologize. Anyway, I went to Korea and I was like, you know what? I want to move here. So what is the easiest way for someone to move to Korea? That is to become an English teacher. So that's exactly what I did. I started getting my English teaching qualifications and I started the process. And I filled out all the details, I made my application, and I just want to really emphasize it's so easy to get accepted into these public teaching programs in Korea. If you speak English and you don't have a criminal record, they will accept you. It really is that simple. So that's why I was so confident I was going to do that. And I was getting ready, I was saying goodbye to my friends and my family. I was nearly at the end of the process when one day I wake up to an email saying, "Hi Dylan, we're afraid to say that your application has been rejected and you can't apply with us again for the next 5 years. Sorry about that. We can't give a reason at the moment as to why your application has been rejected." So I was so confused. I was like, in my mind, I was already there. So to just wake up one day and to be told, no, your plan's not possible anymore. You're not going to be doing that anymore. It's quite disorienting, to say the least. And I was just really confused as well. So I spoke to my account manager person, the one that was helping me with this entire process. And I was like, I got rejected. Did you see it? She was like, yeah, I saw it. Why did I get rejected? She was like, I honestly don't know. So I went through the application again and we found out that it's because when you fill out the forms, you have to say if you are on any medication or if you have been on any medication in the past. So this is when I mentioned, without even thinking about it, that I was on a medication to prevent any further seizures. But I also said I haven't had a seizure in like 10 years, so it's not a big deal. And it's because of that they rejected me. I searched online, I went on Reddit, and I found out that there have been other cases in the past, the exact same, where they listed one tiny medication, and because of that, sorry, Koreans and their K-pop. And now that I think about it, I actually had a friend who I was learning Korean with, And she said that she had had some mental health problems in the past, like 5 years ago, and they rejected her because of that as well. So now that I think about it, they are extremely strict. So that is an example of the butterfly effect, but it gets crazier than that because, okay, you could argue this one thing happening, fast forward like 10 years, 7 years, and that's had a huge impact on my life. I can no longer move to Korea. Obviously, that would have completely changed the direction of my life. Don't look, guys, sorry. So it's actually because of that, though. That's the reason why I started my YouTube channel, because it was a week after I was rejected from teaching in Korea that out of spite, I decided to start this channel and teach online. I wouldn't have done that if they had rejected me. I would have been living here and there would be no British education. I wouldn't be making this video right now. Who knows what my life would have been like then if I'd followed that route. But it was because of that one random seizure that I had in my friend's car 11 years ago. That's what caused me to get rejected to Korea. That's what caused me to start my channel, and that's what caused me to have this completely different life. And if you're new here, probably not, but in the past, if any of my videos have influenced you in any way whatsoever, that's because of that one seizure I had 11 years ago. Yeah, I'm sweating because it's like 32 degrees today. It's very humid. Anyway, so that is just an example of how something seemingly so small and insignificant can have such a huge impact, not only on my life, but on other people's lives as well. God. So yeah, I'd like you to think of that's the story, guys. I'd like you to think of your own example of the butterfly effect and think about how this has influenced your life. And it can be something small, and it might not be done yet, because I promise you that something small can turn into something bigger and bigger and bigger. So just think about that. And if you have an interesting story, please comment down below. Anyway, that was the test. That was hard because I was speaking at a very natural pace. I was rambling a bit. I wasn't very succinct with my words. So it was a very native, realistic conversation there. There was a lot of background noise as well. So if you were able to understand that, good job. Your English is incredible. Now, I have a couple of things to note. Obviously, that will be testing your listening skills, but I know that a lot of you're okay with the listening, but it's the speaking that you struggle with. So if that is you, then I'd like to invite you to join my private online community. Here you will get 7 live calls every single week with me and with an actual accent specialist as well. So that will give you plenty of opportunities to practice your speaking skills with other learners. Okay, no AI nonsense, real people. And also, so the link to that is in the top comment. Definitely join, it's really fun. And also I did post a similar video a couple of days ago, which will be appearing here. So thank you again, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Right, cheers. Adios.